Welcome to Pick Up Game. I'm Seth Greenberg, and thanks for being with us. I'm really excited about today's panel. Got three terrific coaches and even better people that are going to be joining us. Before we start, like we always do, there are a couple things we need to say, and it's so important, especially with the spike in the virus right now. It's going all throughout our country. Please, 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 we need to understand one thing. We need to thank our first responders. We need to thank those on the front lines that are risking their lives every single day for the good of the group. I say they're the greatest teammates because every single day they go to work trying to have an impact and save someone else. And this virus, there's no easy answers. So we need to thank them. And so the sacrifices they're making each and every day is so important. We've got to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Put on your mask. It's really not that simple. It's really that simple. Put on your mask, practice social distancing, make good decisions, because your bad decisions impact others. You can either be selfless or selfish. And the people that say, well, you know what, it's an infringement on my own rights. You know what? Here's the deal. Put on your mask, be a good teammate, make good decisions, and try to be someone that other people want to partner with. If you do not put on your mask, I don't know why anyone would want to partner with you. And then finally, we have 2 weeks from now, we have a vote coming up, and it's real simple. Vote, all right? Let your voice be heard. Get out and vote, all right? It's the only way that we can move on as a society is to have our voice being heard. So that's the great thing about this country is you get the opportunity to choose your leaders. Let's do the right thing. Let's get out and let's vote. So without further ado, I think we've got two of our three. Coach Hurley's joined as well. So I'm really excited. We got three really interesting guys here. We got Dan Hurley, the head coach of Connecticut, who is in his third year at Connecticut in a rebuilding process. We've got my man, James Jones, the dean of Ivy League coaches and the dean of coaches in the state of Connecticut, which is incredible. The guy just keeps on winning games and beating people, and he'll get into his statistics later on. And then my man, Steve Forbes, who is just taken over as the head coach in Wake Forest after an incredible run at East Tennessee. And I appreciate you guys being here. I know there's a lot of stuff going on. Danny, you're trying to get your team ready. Steve, you're trying to get your team ready. Jonesy, you're trying to beat Ed Dolan in golf. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that's happening right now. But, before we get started, I guess the first thing I'd like to ask all you guys is, from last March to where we are today, what's gone through your mind in terms of your job, society, how you interact with your guys, and where we are now in this moment in time? Jones, being you're the dean of coaches in this group, what's transpired from the day you told that things are shut down to where we are today?
Well, first of all, it's great to be on with you, Seth, and with the other coaches as well. The things that's going through my mind is just trying to stay safe and healthy. I think that's where we all want to be. This virus that's going around the country, I don't know that we completely have a grasp of it, understand it. I hear that they're able to take care of people better in hospitals and understand it a little bit better, but there's still so much more that we have to learn. And we kind of want everybody to be healthy and to go that way. And so as we try to move on at Yale, we're trying to make sure that we stay that way and that we try to get as good as we possibly can, given the circumstances that we have.
How does it impact Steve, you just took over a new job. How does it impact, like you took over a job? I remember speaking to you the day after, you're sitting in the middle of your gym with your mask on, making this message to the Demon Deacon fans. And then a couple of weeks later, you're on a motorcycle with the Demon Deacon. But I mean, how does that impact just how your day-to-day life of trying to reestablish Wake Forest?
Well, Seth, thanks for having me. The thing I enjoy the most about Wake Forest is I know it's an institution that you had no chance to get into.
Valid.
I've done the emotional roller coaster. You think about in March, my team actually at East Tennessee State qualified for the NCAA tournament, won the conference tournament, and then on a Monday and on a Friday, I was saying goodbye to them and telling 5 seniors or 6 seniors that they weren't going to play in the NCAA tournament. And then I changed jobs. and then I said goodbye to them via Zoom, which was horrible. And I hate, that's probably the part I hated the most, was saying goodbye to those kids I cared so much about, not face to face, and then moving my family during a pandemic. Taking a job May 1st and not meeting the team face to face until July 25th. I don't think probably anybody in the history of college basketball has done that, and then trying to re-recruit the team via Zoom, via phone calls, without being able to leave campus, then not being able to ever leave campus yet to recruit or have kids visit. It's really been, the basketball side of it has been very challenging. I agree with Coach Jones. I think for me, it's just keeping my family safe and keeping my players safe, following the protocols. We've done a fabulous job here. We haven't had a positive test since we got together, and we get tested now 3 times a week. I feel bad for our players because it's not a typical college experience. They have to be very mindful of who they're around. They have to social distance just to keep the program moving in the right direction. And so I give them all the credit for doing the right things, on and off the court. So it's unprecedented. Greenberg, you were probably the only coach alive in 1917 when they had the pandemic. Yeah, you might know a little bit about that, but Coach Hurley and Coach Jones and I, we don't. And so we don't have the experience that you have. But that's kind of, for me in a nutshell, what it's been like. It's been something that I've made this comment before. I'm probably the only fool to take a new job during a pandemic, but at least I took a great job.
Hey, he's gotten funnier. We're done with Forbes now. We can knock him off today. Danny, all right, year 3, and obviously the pandemic comes. What have you done in this time to continue to build on the momentum and get ready for a new league and welcome your team back? And how does it impact you on a daily basis?
Yeah, I mean, it's, I would say, that 2 to 3 week period when your season, when your season ends, usually, you kind of, you decompress, from the season. So much emotion and energy goes into, like that 5.5 month season, the routine of going to practice and scouting and preparation and competition and all these things. You just get into a routine, and so the season ends, and usually you're kind of emotionally spent. So combine that emotionally spent with the pandemic, and that was, I think it was a scary time for all of us. Probably, took a couple of week adjustment, and then you obviously got to continue to do your job and connect and recruiting the best way you can. Stay connected to your players and your coaching staff the best that you can through your WebExes, through your Zooms, and just try to conduct your program in the best possible manner virtually. And for me, just during the whole pandemic and really into the summer, the best way for I just put a tremendous amount of structure into my day. I was really regimented. With what time I went to bed, what time I woke up, what time I did, like personal and professional reading or journaling or meditating or exercise or watching film. I just tried to be like really regimented with my weekdays so that it felt as close to normal as I could get it. But, just to disconnect and not seeing coaches on the road in April and not being around your team and not being able to be around your tribe, your group was a major void that you don't realize until it gets taken away.
How do you guys deal with the mental health of your team? Because I mean, like, there's a physical health, there's an emotional health, but the mental health of, right here, we're all adults, and it's had significant impacts on us and our families. But like, how do you become that support system for your players when there's no cliff notes for how to help your players get through these times? And like, how do you deal with the uncertainty? Like, James, right? You have an uncertainty. You don't even know if you're going to have a season. Danny and Steve, you guys have an uncertainty because, you think you have a schedule, but you're not sure you have a schedule. I mean, like, how do you guys do, whether it's contact tracing, just the day-to-day difference in the players' lives? How do you guys deal with it? Just talk amongst yourself. I'd be interested to see how, like, each of you approaches it.
Well, you approach it just like you approach your family, right? Like, nobody's life is like it was. And something very valuable to college basketball players has been taken away. Like Steve talked about, like, we were headed to the NCAA tournament and 2 days later we weren't. So, like, and you had to say we actually had a dinner and we used that as sort of our end of the year banquet. And then my guys were gone. They still have stuff in the locker room. I mean, it's a mess in a lot of ways, right? So you just try to do the best you can and try to be logical about everything that goes on. Like, we're in a pandemic. So, basketball is a great thing. I think it adds a lot to our campuses, our universities, and especially for our young men. But at the end of the day, it's entertainment. And, we can do without for a period of time so everybody can be safe and healthy. And that's my mindset. I've been coaching for 30 years. And this is sort of something, or this is a little bit of a respite for me that would maybe add years on to the back of my career because I haven't had to go through another season back to back. And obviously I'm not looking forward to it. I hope we all play. I hope we all get an opportunity to show what we all work for. But the day-to-day is based on logic for me. And everything is, okay, we're in this situation because of this. This is going to happen, so we have to do this. So that's the basically way I've been trying to handle it with my team and also my family.
I think one thing that I've always done as a head coach, and it's paid off probably during this pandemic, is I've always had a rule that our players had to check in the office every day before 1 o'clock, Monday through Friday. And they have to come have a conversation with me or one of the coaches about life, not about basketball. And so I've had daily contact with them every day since we started. And because as you guys know, I mean, I've been places. I coached Texas A&M. They had 55,000 students. Campus was huge. Didn't see the players at practice. You may never see them. And so I've always done that from Northwest Florida to East Tennessee State to now. Is I've always had them. They have to check in, and they have to come in here and physically see me. And I don't want my office to be the principal's office. And so I think that's helped in conversation, Seth. I think, the isolation is it's something I think we got to think about. Like, we can't, I get this high major job and we're catering, you can cater a meal to these kids, but you can't even do that. They got to grab and go. We can't sit and visit, and so I've tried hard to visit with them individually every day, one-on-one about what's going on in their life and be mindful of the isolation that they're facing.
For me, Seth, it's just, having such a deep connection with the players, obviously myself through the staff, coaching staff, administrative staff, where we know our players so well and we're so in tune with them that we could see signs of, distress or little changes in terms of, their body language or some type of messaging that we could pick up on. Obviously on a virtual call, it's challenging to pick up on those cues. But, for me as a leader, like I get my teams, I think to play really, really hard, and we practice hard. And I'm Bob Hurley Sr.'s kid. My dad was a hard ass. But as a leader, I try to be vulnerable. I try to be vulnerable, about some of the mental health and emotionally charged issues I dealt with as a player at Seton Hall when I was struggling and failing at times, and how counseling and having a great therapist was able to, help me work through a lot of those challenges and become a stronger a better, stronger man. So I kind of share, a lot of, what I experienced as a player, and I still rely upon, therapy, for my own emotional and mental well-being as a 47-year-old, head coach at UCONN. And that, knowing and reaching out for people that could make you a better version of yourself doesn't show weakness. It shows great strength.
That's good stuff right there. How about like, last few weeks, you had the situation with State, you had the situation at Penn State. Just in terms of dealing with your guys, how much is straight talk or, like listening and hearing? You've got social unrest. You've got obviously the pandemic. You've got societal changes. Have you guys changed any way in terms of you interacting with your guys?
I don't know that I've changed it all, Seth, although I've really tried to listen to my guys. I've really tried to make sure that I hear them. We're trying to do some things socially, but I don't want to do anything that's going to make them uncomfortable. So really trying to go to them and have them kind of like drive the car on it and drive the issues that are going on. That's become really important to me, to have them do it and just kind of sit back and kind of guide them as they need help. But really listen to my guys have become more important.
Seth, I don't think I've changed. I think, I've always been somebody that's been really hard on my team, but always gave them a ton of confidence. In other words, if I get on somebody in practice, I come right behind it and tell them that they're going to be fine or they're a great player or I make them laugh. I think you have to let them know that you love them, but you're not afraid to put their foot up their ass at the same time. But if they don't feel like that, you love them and you care about them, then it's hard to do that. Yeah. And so I think that the relationship, like Danny talked about, like for me, it's the most important thing. And I'm not sitting here blowing smoke up Danny because he's on here, but the best practice I've ever seen in my life was his father. I mean, I stood in the corner and was scared to death, and I was a high major assistant. I didn't want to say nothing. I was afraid he was going to ask me a question. I've never seen anything like it. And I tell people that all the time. It's not just because today. If you asked me that tomorrow or last week, I would tell you Thanksgiving 2000 and I don't remember. I was in Tennessee. I was up there for the NIT. I went to his first practice that year. Dominic Cheek was a junior, I believe, and he had some really great senior players. And whoo, it was game on. But
hey, let me jump in there so I got to talk about his dad one time. So we're recruiting one of his players, and we decided not to take the kid.
Uh-oh.
And Bob Senior calls me up and he goes, James, you're not going to take, and I can't remember the young man's name. It was my first year at Yale. He goes, you're not going to take such and such? And I go, no, I think that we're going to go in a different direction. He goes, listen, he starts for me, and my team is better than yours. And you know what? At the time, he's probably right.
No, I got a better one. I was in Tennessee, and this was back when you could go out in the summer. You didn't have to go to these events. You could actually watch a practice, right? So I had a private plane lined up to go see St. Anthony's on a Monday. It was Sunday night. And I knew Kansas was going. I think Tyshawn was there. And I was trying to get old coach.
Bad memory for me.
I was trying to get old Hurley all day long, James. And he wouldn't answer. I'm like, shit, I got this plane. So finally he answers the phone at 10 o'clock. And he lights my ass up. Tells me, who do you think you are calling me at 10 o'clock? You're an assistant, just boom. I'm like, yeah. So I take my medicine and fly to St. Anthony's in the plane. And I'm standing out there in the hallway with Coach Self before practice, and I'm telling him what happened. He goes, man, you're a brave dude. I'm like, oh, I know, man. I'm shaking my head. Coach is in there sweeping the floor. Pretty soon we walk in there, and he didn't say a word. He was cool about it. But, man, I was scared to death that this man – and later on I signed Marcus McDuffie, great player. And, again, I didn't want to digress here, but I just
Well, I'll top all of you because that Tyshawn Taylor every single week. What was that summer league in Jersey City, Danny? That your dad had those guys in the summer.
Hamilton Park.
Hamilton Park. So I go to Hamilton Park with your dad every single week to watch Tyshawn, and then so I mean I was like a fixture there. I mean I actually thought we were going to get the guy. I mean, but and then the week before they started practice on a Thursday, I go in to watch practice. The practice before the practice, not the real practice, as you know, the practice before the practice. And I come walking in, and he shakes his head. I goes, blank. I was meaning to call you. I said, "What's up, coach?" He goes, "I'm throwing him out." I said, "What do you mean you're throwing him out?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm throwing him out. I've had enough of their shit right now, and I need to get him ready for next week. I'm throwing him out. About 3 minutes into this thing, I'm going to lose it, and I'm just they're just gone. I'm done with them. I'm out." And I'm going, and all of a sudden, someone missed a layup or something. They were doing that Steve Nash dribble warm-up stuff, and someone was like doing it semi-half-assed, and there was an explosion in the gym. And those guys actually enjoyed, like I don't know if they expected it, but then I came back the next week, and they practiced their asses off. I mean, that was the greatest thing to see his practices. As long as you weren't one of the guys playing.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Speaking to that point, my athletic director, Tom Becker, told me this years ago when I first started working at Yale. Kids don't care what you know until they know you care. And like if you're looking at Bobby Sr., they know he cared about them. And that was the main thing. He cared, he loved them. But you know what? You were going to get better, and he was going to challenge you to do so. And I think that's what we all try to do.
Yeah,
100%, 100%. So all right, in terms of getting better, right, Jake?
I'm telling Pops,
you're in zero. You're at zero right now. What are you, Steve and Danny? Like, what are you doing right now? You guys are potentially going to play games in November. So what are you able to do, and how much have you been able to get your team? Well, you're a month away from playing games, and good games. What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, for us, Steve's obviously in a different place. I was in that going into year one, of battles in terms of roster talent, in terms of the culture of professionalism, in terms of just walking around every day and seeing everything in and around the program that's holding you back from winning, whether it's marketing or facilities, all that stuff. So, going into year three for me, like culture's formed pretty good, talent and depth on the roster. There's competition for roles. There's competition, for minutes. We got a couple guys in the program, that are NBA level guys again at UCONN, which is the way it should be. But because we haven't done, going into like 10 days ago, we hadn't played 5-on-5 since March. These guys hadn't played 5-on-5 because of the restrictions with COVID. We had just kind of gotten to live play 4-on-4, 5-on-5 like 10 days ago. So for me, I'm back I'm at that baseline point of before we could start like understanding like the philosophy at both ends of the court that fits this team, and like all the type of details and habits, of transition defense or of ball screen coverages or, just fundamentally sound court behavior. Like we're back to setting the baseline of how hard you have to play every single possession. Like yesterday was our third practice, and we were just getting to the point at the end of yesterday's practice that I was able to create like the intense environment of a 2-hour and 15-minute practice, that I was able to walk away from it and say, this team's starting to get just how hard you have to play before you can even get to execution or understanding the system.
Yeah.
Forbes, what are you trying to get?
Well, Danny, he's got culture, and I need identity. Identity is immediate. Culture takes time. And so I'm at the same place. Now we've been able to go 5-on-5 a little bit longer than that. We started out with 4 guys, but we've been able to go 5-on-5 for probably a couple months. But I'm just, I threw them out Tuesday and brought them back. We went about an hour and 10, hour and 15. I tossed them, brought them back that night, and it's just not acceptable not to compete. And I haven't walked away yet at a 2 hour and 15 minutes, because I don't think you can go much longer than that when you're really going at it. I haven't walked away yet going, they got that figured out. So we're trying to figure out competing every play, every possession, and we're trying to figure out – I'm just trying to keep the ball in the middle of the court right now. That's like my number one thing, just defense, just no middle, and just small things. Like Danny said, it's – you walk around and you see things and I don't try. Sometimes it's overwhelming, when you're trying to coach your team and then you're looking at, well, we don't do this well, we don't do this well, and we don't have this thing over here. It's just kind of like, whew, you got to prioritize. And for me right now, it's just the team and my family, and just understand. And I firmly believe this, and I believe every day is a win or a loss. And I think you learn how to win or lose in practice, and you got to string wins together. And right now we're like 4-3, and I've always, and I tell them after practice every day, that was a loss. We play today, loss. Play today, win. And I think that sends a message to them about how we have to operate. And so until we can get to where they understand every day, I'm not changing. I always tell them I got the hardest head right here. You're not me. So that's where we're at.
James, what are you doing with your team? I'm like, you got when you can get them back with the uncertainty. Can you establish a plan? Because the best case scenario, you guys play in January. Is that it?
Yeah, that's when it's open. We're not going to do anything till January, so we'll see what happens then. Our program's a little bit different. I've been here for, this is my 22nd year, so our culture and our identity is pretty well established, and it's great to see. I have 3 seniors and 3 freshmen on campus right now, and when you mix them together, it's easy to see how the seniors, show the freshmen what to do and how to do, and they just kind of follow suit. They just kind of follow in line. It's worked out really well. But in terms of what we're doing right now, we're waiting to see if we can get back in the gym next week and we can start conditioning again. And so right now, my year is basically July. I'm in July. So I have a couple of months, I got November, December before we play in January. So I got a couple of months to try to build the team and put it together.
All right. So I guess the last question would be, what is your conference telling you about all of you guys about scheduling, or, if you're crossing conferences? Because I'm talking to our people at ESPN, and we actually, obviously have a number of events, and they're running into some roadblocks saying, well, the ACC has this protocol, the SEC has this protocol, the Big 12 has this protocol, this school is, this conference has this protocol, the CDC has this protocol. How are you guys dealing with scheduling and getting a uniform protocol, and how is scheduling moving forward? I know, James, you're not going to play non-conference games. So for Dan and Steve, how are you putting together a schedule, and how do you know when who can approve a game, I guess?
Well, for us, we play 20 league games, as you know, so we only get 7 opportunities to schedule anyway, right? Now, this might be the 7 hardest games we've ever scheduled in my career, and not that they're, just like you said, matching everything up. And I don't even deal with it. My poor director of basketball operations, Frank Davis, who's the best, that's his job. He comes to me and tells me where we're at with it, Seth. At one point I thought they were wanting to play 24, 26 league games in the ACC, and I was about to commit suicide if that was the case. I knew everybody wanted to play me 4 times. For us, trying to go Operation 7-0 the best we can. With the league games being the way they are, we're going to try to host an MTE. I think we about got that done. And then we have existing contracts that we've tried to, if we could match them up with the protocols, with the travel, we've done it. Some of them we've had to push to the next year, but I'm hoping in another week or so, we'll be done with it. But we're at a different point probably than Danny's at or James is at as far. And I know, James, you don't have non-conference. Scheduling wise, we don't need to be playing in the Mohegan Sun. We don't need to be playing in Asheville, or we don't need to be going to South Dakota. I've been to all those places, all garden spots in the United States, of course.
Well, you look at South Dakota as like, a vacation spot coming from Iowa.
That's home, man. I mean, I took my team out there one time. Don't sleep on that place. That Pentagon is fabulous. Now that place to play, I'm just telling you, when they go there, it's a neat spot, and they get good fans. And we went out there 3 years ago and won 3 games. We beat Milwaukee and Irvine and South Dakota State when they had Mike Dom. And it was a really good mid-major event, but it's a little chilly. But we're probably a little different, with the 7 games, and probably where Danny's at with his schedule. He's probably playing a little bit stiffer competition.
Danny, what's the Big East telling you about schedule? And I know you're going to play games in December, but I mean, are they overseeing a little bit of the protocol to make sure that your team doesn't get exposed to then potentially bring something into those December games? Because I just saw Marquette shut down for like 14 days right now.
Yeah, I think that what helps us is like our team, the head the head doc, Dr. Casera is has been on some of the Big East calls, and she works closely with our athletes here, so we're obviously getting a lot of advice there in terms of what makes sense to schedule. It's complicated. We've got like Joe Lenardi or bracketologists on one line in terms of like trying to figure out what type of balance we want to strike with the 6 or 7 non-conference games. How many high-level ones do we want to play with the 20 Big East games? So we're trying to get advice in terms of knowing that we have the type of team that is now NCAA caliber, but then also too looking at what we already had scheduled in the non-conference, and trying to like anticipate whether a game, like you have a scheduled road game on your non-conference, like what's the likelihood based on the geography of the game, whether that thing will happen or not, and then you lose a game. So we're trying to schedule things in a non-conference that seem to be, I guess, safe, that we'll have a chance to play it. But the league really has stayed out of that. And then obviously the league play will start in the middle of December, and that'll be really exciting. But it's fluid, man, and as I got on the call here, I think, and all about our beat writers, Seth, we got
4,000 of them.
What's that?
4,000 of them.
Yeah, I mean, our media situation here is unlike anything in college. Maybe there may be a couple schools in the country, but this is more like NBA type of local media in-state thing. So I think right as I got on here, somebody dropped that our schedule changed dramatically. So I'm gonna have to check with my Dobo AD and see if they scheduled something while I was on the call.
James, parting words, schedule. Like what do you want to tell the Ivy fans, about where you think, what your gut feeling on what you think could happen, or is it just impossible?
Just stay optimistic. That's what I would tell anybody, to stay optimistic. We all want to play. We all want to be part of it. We're going to have the NCAA tournament at some point this year, and we hope that we're part of it. So just try to stay optimistic.
That makes sense, and I'm sure if you guys want to stay on, because James's guys in the portal, I won't get into that because you know,
Come on, man.
he'll be doing business shortly after that. But I appreciate you. I know you guys have a lot of stuff going on, but it's so crazy. You know, like to me, I spent this morning talking to our ESPN people, and the scheduling thing, you know, and you know, obviously we have about 8 or 9 events. They're stuck, man. I mean, they're still, you know, like with the protocols. So I can't even imagine within your campus, within your leagues, just dealing with that, and then the uncertainty with your teams.
I mean, I just don't think it's going to be a regular season. I mean, I think we're just going to have to. I don't anticipate playing 27 games, to be honest. I mean, I hope, but I don't. I mean, if they don't, I won't be surprised. And I think we're just going to, you know, have to deal with it, you know, and not get too high, get too low about it, and know that it might not even be our team. It might be somebody that we're playing, right? I mean, it might not even be our situation. So I just don't think it's going to be a regular season, and that's the way it's going to be. And we all got to, like James said, we just stay optimistic about it and either glass half full or half empty.
And be flexible. Got to be flexible. Got to go on the floor.
Yeah. Have agility. Well, I appreciate you guys. Like I say, I mean, I do think we'll have a tournament, and I talked to Matt Painter the other day. He said he made a good point. He basically, in essence, said that we just got to get through it, and we got to be there for our players, and we've got to understand like you say, flexible. We got to have agility because there are going to be things that are out of our control that if we overreact to as leaders, well, not we, because I'm just a bald-headed talking head. But you know, as in leadership positions, we overreact to those. The players are going to take on how you react to a lot of that stuff, and we need to be there for them as much as anyone because their life is more uncertain than it's ever been, and they need probably more support than they've ever needed. So I appreciate you guys doing this. I really do, and good luck as the season goes along. And one thing, this platform, Albert Hall and Hall Pass, they've got all kinds of things going on, but they're going to have a class in teaching collective bargaining agreement with Larry Kuhn that is absolutely going to be incredible. So if anyone out there listening to this has an interest in getting in the NBA, understanding the NBA collective bargaining agreement, wants to get into being a scout or front office, this will be as good as it gets of giving you an understanding and a foundation to pursue your dream working in the front office of an MBA. So, you know, I would strongly recommend that. And for you guys, I appreciate it. Hopefully I'll get out and get a chance to see some of you guys practice. I've got to find out the protocol to sit away from everyone, wear my mask, and about a month from now, hopefully the balls are bouncing. So guys, be safe, man.
All right.
Take care of yourself, take care of your family, take care of your team.
Thanks, man. Great seeing you guys.
Yeah. Take care, guys. Good luck.
So long now. Be good.
Hey, Seth.
Imagine starting the career of your dreams. There's nothing stopping you. All you need is an opportunity. Now, here's a way to get there. SBC Online is a new way of creating advantages over the competition. The CBA itself is nearly 500 pages of dense legal language. And even if you're a lawyer, it's going to be difficult to understand every nuance of it. But that's where this course comes in. I break down each section of the agreement into common language and provide real-world examples to help you understand the use and application of each section. If you're looking into this course, you probably know about my FAQ. Not only do teams tell me time and again that this is one of their favorite resources, a lot of them will call me directly to talk about the rules. So there is no one better to talk about this subject than me. Through repetition and exercise, you can become a CBA expert when you make it through this course. And one of the biggest benefits of this package is that it never expires. Down the road, when you're in your job with a team or agency, you can refer back to any section at any time. So if you're ready to bust down the door of your career, sign up for CBA Mastery with Larry Kuhn today.